never think why I might have stepped into the cold water at this time, but I did it just so I could say, welcome to Swimming Upstream Radio Show. I am Dorothy Wilhelm. I'm nearly sure I am. And what we are going to be doing today, this is Generation Gap. Now, I want to assure you that we have spent no time and effort at all into preparing this show. You are going to be just as surprised about it as we are. But I want to introduce to you my co-hosts. Let's see, Ray Miller Still, who is, hello there, smile, Ray.
Oh, did we start? Oh, my bad. Put that away. Hi.
Hi. I mean, I was explaining that today, for various reasons, we have put no time and effort into preparing the show at all. So it's going to be as big a surprise to us as it is to our audience.
I love surprises, except for when my kid has one.
Oh,
it's always a 50-50. I'm like, what do you got? You have a nice drawing? You're going to throw a rock at me?
I know. Yeah. Believe me. And that goes on till about 17. I remember my oldest son coming home from the Coast Guard Academy at about 20 and throwing up in the front yard.
Oh, yeah. No, coming. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, at least it was out of the house.
That's true. Yes.
So Ray, explain yourself.
I am a millennial, born in 1991. I'm a millennial. You're silent generation. You never broke the rules. I'm a millennial. We loved breaking the rules and complaining. But if you think we're bad, just wait until Gen Z gets to be all of working age. Or what's even the next one? Gen Alpha?
I don't know, and I've been looking at this.
Gen Alpha are the children of millennials. Gen Z is... Okay, yeah, so yeah, Generation Alpha is like, my kid's going to be Alpha. And I'm really, we'll see.
So then why don't you, as long as you're on a roll as you are, introduce our co-host, Jason Falls.
This is Jason Falls. He is Gen X, which means nobody care about him and he doesn't care about anybody. Or anything.
I nailed it.
That is exactly right.
I am self-sufficient.
That's the positive spin.
That is darn near the funniest thing I ever heard. That's really great. So anyway, there's quite a difference. What's interesting is that there's a pretty big difference in generations in the way that we communicated, that we showed care or lack of care, or just didn't give a damn. But what I thought to start with, I had read this article this is called the newspaper, Ray. Anyway, from the Washington Post, I had to look that up.
Please tell me, did you print out this article, Dorothy?
Yeah,
Bless your heart.
You know, I try so hard. And anyway,
the article, for people wondering, from the Post, is, "Are boomers the real iPad babies?"
Yeah, right. That was very good. And what's interesting, as far as from my point of view, of course, it's fascinating that we're even talking about such a thing, because now I have a phone. We all have a phone. But the idea here is that people, now boomers you're a boomer, aren't you? Right? No.
Oh, yeah. No. What? No, boomers were between you and Jason.
Boomers are my parents' age.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes.
No.
Yes. How are we forgetting this? That's bad. We're generation gap. We can't remember that. That's bad.
Oh, I can't remember anything.
But yes, boomer is Jason's parents.
Okay. So the article suggests that the boomers, so people and I guess I extrapolated onto it being people my age, because don't tell anybody, it'll only get me into trouble, but all the people here my age are iPad babies. They are everybody has their phone and they carry it with them everywhere. And they pass, get this, they sit at the table and we pass it around like it was garlic bread.
What are you even all looking at? Just like, hey, look at this meme?
Meme? Do you imagine we know what a meme?
it doesn't really matter if you know what a meme is or isn't. You're still looking at one.
For instance, at dinner last night, what we looked at was there's a lady, fairly newcomer here, and she was an Army nurse. Anyway, she was fixing her, and Army people tend to really enjoy fixing up their place because they didn't get to do that for a long time, you know. So she has put pictures, like I put pictures. No offense, we all put pictures. Anyway, so she was passing around all her pictures, and so that was nice, of course.
I'll do that with my kid, but not necessarily my house.
Well, see,
I'll force people to look at my pictures of my kid all day long.
Oh, everybody does that.
I don't know. I haven't met any other parent that does it as much as I do. I think every day I take a photo of my kid and I put it in at least 3 group chats.
That is touching.
I take a lot of photos of my kid, and they're all really great. Here, in fact,
you got a picture for us?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Here's one of him wearing my glasses from yesterday.
Oh, how cute!
Nice.
Yeah. So he just came down and went, "Aw," and I was like, "Why are you awing?" And I turn around, he's wearing my glasses. I'm like, "Oh." He knew. That's going to be a problem. Yep. He knows.
Yep.
Oh yes, it's going to be a big problem. so see, now here is what happens. Here is an example of what happens when we have absolutely no idea what direction we're going. So
we get a little tangenty.
Little tangenty, but it was cute and it was adorable. And Patrick, my youngest son, is big. Oh, kind of. So his boys go, oh, and I don't think you can too often. I really don't. I think
it brings joy to my heart. But okay, so this woman was passing around a phone. But I got to ask, based on the article that we're talking about, I gesture over here to the article on my screen. Did anyone at your table? Was anyone at your table just constantly on your phone, or do you see people constantly on your phone, on their phone or on their device where you live?
I do see that, and I don't care.
It's not like you wanted to talk to them anyway.
No, I really didn't. I don't know why they're sitting at our table. Anyway, no. The thing is that there's nothing wrong with it. I don't mind anybody showing around the pictures at their house. Okay, she did show them around about 5 times. But even so, that's okay. But on the other hand, it seemed indicative of the kind of thing they were talking about. That because of course it's difficult to remember who you showed things to and all that kind of thing. So do you think, is anything in your experience that makes you think that we're going toward people my age turning into people your son's age?
Well, I think we're looking at a couple of different competing problems here. One is that your generation didn't grow up with this, and it's kind of like you are now newly addicted. You have spent the last couple of decades now catching up to the new technology, and now that you have caught up, it's like, oh, I'm hooked. I'm absolutely hooked.
Yeah, that is interesting, and I hadn't thought of that.
I think it was slow to start, but you have eventually now caught up to using some of the more, I would say, some of the more basic devices. But these basic devices were not the same ones that we had, a couple of decades ago. These ones are way more addictive. It is very addicting to go Alexis or Google or Bumble, or no, I think Bumble's a dating site for them to do things for you. I mean, you guys can access technology now in a way you couldn't, because you just ask a computer to do it for you.
Yeah, but see, the whole thing is not that it really changes things any, but this whole group, all of them, all they do is they can take pictures, receive messages, maybe send messages and pass them around. They can't do anything else with it.
Okay, I mean, that doesn't seem so bad. That sounds. I would say that would even be social in a way. I think this article is talking about the boomers that are doom scrolling, which for anyone listening just means you're just stuck on a couch and you're just going through Reddit or Facebook or Instagram, and you're just losing time, hours and hours a day. And that's I think that's a problem for everyone, for all generations. But I think, again, the addictiveness has finally caught up to you guys, and you have not been insulated to it. My generation, I try to be very conscious of my social media use. So I do try and put my phone down. I don't know if you guys have developed that sort of consciousness yet.
Yeah.
I definitely have developed a consciousness for myself, because I understand, and I think the main problem here, at least scientifically, is that when you are engaging with a lit screen in your hand, and it will do whatever you want it to do, and it's got all these different applications on it, you're feeding dopamine into your system.
Yeah.
It's a big dopamine high, which is just like exercise or certain drugs and whatnot. And so it is addictive. You get addicted to that. And it's when people are walking from one room to another in their house and they don't have their phone, they panic because they don't, where am I going to get my dopamine? They don't consciously say that, of course, but that's how their body reacts. It's like, I can't go anywhere without this. I depend on it too much. What happens if I fall? I need to have my phone in my hand or my pocket so that I can call someone. Like, there's lots of practical reasons to do this, but the dopamine addiction is there. And so I've started to become aware of it. But I've also noticed in my parents' generation, the boomer generation, which is what this article is talking about, there's two things that happen. Number one, they're fascinated with the fact that they have access to any piece of information in the history of the world. And so I might doom scroll TikTok and watch silly videos. My dad is going to doom scroll the History Channel's website and, other things where he can read facts and things like that. So that's not inherently bad, but it's inherently bad if he sits there and does it for 6 hours at a time. And it's not the devices are built to keep you hooked. And therefore those 4, 5, 6 hours doom scrolling on a phone is happening more and more often across generations, not just with boomers, but everybody.
Yeah. This is on purpose. This technology is addictive on purpose. In fact, I do believe that Meta guilty California. I do believe that down in California, Meta and YouTube found liable in social media addiction trial. That was just yesterday. So
there's a couple of things. One is that the high school where my kids went to school, maybe 10 minutes from here, is experiencing a huge spike in suicides. I mean, unbelievable. Because in some way it doesn't work. As you say, you get into it and you get that great feeling and all that, and then all of a sudden, apparently, Jason, you may know, luckily, thank goodness, I haven't had to deal with it, but it's really, really very, very difficult, and nobody seems to know what to do about it.
Yeah, and I think the underlying issue there is, because if you look at psychologists and whatnot that study addiction and whatnot, typically there is some sort of underlying trauma that people try to escape from their trauma and placate that with either drugs or alcohol or gambling or social media addiction or whatever it is. So there's some underlying problem. And I think if you really pull back even further and look at it, the problem always seems to be that there's some lack of human connection.
Yeah.
So for someone who winds up being an alcoholic or whatnot, it might be because they had an abusive household when they were younger. That's a lack of parenting, a lack of human connection, a lack of love, a lack of support. And so it all goes back to the same thing. And if you look at people who are boomers who are doom scrolling, it's because they don't have anything better to do. Their kids aren't coming around as much. They're not proactively putting themselves in social situations where it's not technology based, but it's actually a real human to human social interaction. It's lazy a little bit. I don't think it's lazy intentionally, but it's a little bit of a lazy use of your time. And we've just got to become more aware of it so that we can make better choices on, hey, the phone's great, but I want to go play cards with some friends because I need that human interaction to balance it all out.
Yeah.
What I think very strongly as I was listening to you, I think one thing that's gone really wrong with what you're saying about building, other ways of finding interaction and all. Our kids, I could hardly wait to put them in their room. I would put them in their room several times a day. Often I would not let them come out ever again because, and believe me, there was nothing in their room. There was no TV and there was no radio and nothing. But therefore, they had to solve problems. If they were going to do something interesting, they were going to have to create it. If anything needed doing, they would have to work out how to do it. And I do think that the fact that our generation, that was how we did it. And we did never speak to our kids once they went out of the house. But they did have to, without a phone. Many of us never had a phone until we were in our teens. And it wasn't a family phone. It was just. So I think maybe that's the first thing. Not that I think anybody's going to do it, but I think the fact that we learned how to solve problems. It may not have been perfect, and we may not have liked the solution. No, get back in the bottle, Jeannie. So anyway, that's I do see that with mine. I feel really, really lucky in this way, being in the Army, and I don't know if you've got any correlations, but was extremely lucky for them because they solved problems all around the world. And the fact, it was not bad to be going to a new school because they had a gang. I mean, the gang was already there. Look out, we're coming. But that made it a little easier, So if we're gonna give advice to parents, and you're the only, you two, but you see, Ray's kids are very young. We can give him advice safely. So,
well, I think you touched on two really interesting topics. One being, yay! I think the problem-solving aspect is fascinating because we're, as a social species, very used to solving problems as a group. So going back to Jason's point, the human connection there, and we no longer have to do that. Like as I mentioned before, we can ask Google or Alexa or Blooper or whatever to solve a problem for us. So that takes away two things. That takes away our own critical thinking, and that takes away the opportunity for us to solve a problem as a group. And obviously, sometimes you need quick answers. But I think, if I was going to give advice to parents, it would be, make sure your kids are solving problems on their own and are solving problems with a group, because this is, that human connection. Without that, people get depressed. And I think the doom scrolling is very indicative of how people are depressed, whether it's a teenager, which we focus on a lot. We focus on the teenage suicides. We don't focus on, and I do believe this is a bit of ageism here, we don't focus on boomers and the silent generation and how they're depressed. How do we handle your depression? I guess we don't, because you're about to die. But as we talked an episode or two ago, my grandpa had recently passed, and he was, I believe, extremely depressed. He had zero human connection after my grandma died a couple years ago, and I think he really could have. They both could have lived until they were in their 90s. They were so healthy, and to watch his depression eat away at his mind and then his body, that's really hard, and it was just impossible to get him to interact or do anything.
And I think what you're touching on there that really matters is why, I have Parkinson's, so it's getting very hard for me to walk now. I'm having the time of my life. I'm having, because I do every darn thing I know how to do, I'm doing it. And if I don't know how to do it, I will pretend I did it anyway. So I do think the trick is, you're absolutely right about the depression. The trick is to say, well, what can I do with where we are, right? I do notice that people tend to spend a lot of time feeling bad about where they are in life, and this is a hard time. Yeah. But we're here, and I will call to your attention yet again. Look at how Bambi comes out. I mean, we can't be surprised about all this.
That's true.
So I think.
Go ahead.
It's just that I think the trick is looking at what you still can do. You all know, Jason especially knows, one big change for me has been that I can hardly write a sentence without a typo. I will have to go back and over, but I can still do it. Yes, it takes longer. Yes, it's going to take longer.
And I got a question to that, but I know Jason wants to say something.
Good old Jason.
I was just going to say, to add on to it, I think that parents need to be more conscious about screen time and offering that human connection to their kids. And I think adults obviously need to be thinking about that too. But I was actually thinking of a bit that a comedian has that I think is really appropriate for this conversation. There's a comedian by the name of Pete Holmes. Oh, yeah. And he has a wonderful bit where he's talking about his iPhone or our connectivity to the internet and the information age and all that kind of stuff. And he said, can you believe that when we were children, and he's younger than me, but he says, when we were children, if we thought one day, I wonder where Tom Petty's from, we just had to not know.
That's true.
And we would go years without knowing. And then we would see someone with a concert t-shirt on walking down the street, and we would stop them and say, do you happen to know where Tom Petty's from? And they would say, Gainesville, Florida. And then we knew. We had years of wonder and curiosity. And that's what we're also taking away from ourselves and our children is the information's there. So we don't have to work for it. We don't have to think about it. We don't have to ponder on it. And I think that hurts us as human beings.
Yes. My kid's going to be walking down here in just a little bit, and he has a nature notebook that he's going to be observing. He's going to be taping things in there. He's got stickers and everything. If he wants to learn something, it would be very easy for me to just open up my phone and go, oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. Answer his questions directly, as opposed to, why don't you go figure it out for yourself? That wasn't the most annoying thing my dad ever did about my homework. Oh, no. I'm gonna half lead you. I'm gonna help lead you to water, but I'm not gonna help you drink. I'm like, right. Oh, come on, Dad. I just want to get through this word problem.
I'm glad you're doing that booklet. Are you doing it with him, or is it from school? Or not that it matters.
No, it was just a gift to him. I want to do some of it for him, but he's going to do some of it on the way back, some of it on the way down. But I'm sure, like maybe over the weekend, we'll go to a park or something, and this is just a way for him to explore the world as opposed to just getting the answers handed to him. Dorothy, I had a question for you, and I put it in the chat here. So, why don't you use AI to write? I suspect I already know the answer, but why don't you use AI to write?
My primary care doc asked me the same question, and I fired him.
Don't fire me. I'm just asking questions.
Yes, I won't. No, but the reason is, well, the first place we were in at the beginning in the Army, my husband in artificial intelligence, and we will not be using it. Nevertheless, I understand that it's there, and I plan to take a class for this. I'm answering your question for the reason that you got to know.
I believe you.
You got to know how things work. You got to know what there is. But I won't use it because, no offense, ladies and gentlemen. If I can turn on a spigot and Dorothy comes out, then it's not Dorothy anymore. And I will be writing my own stuff, giving my own speeches, even though with Parkinson's, and I now go to speak, I will often completely lose where I am. And I won't, and that was what he was suggesting, AI. He thought that I could record it. But see, it doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. And what will happen is I'll usually tell my audiences at the start, we'll talk a little bit about life itself and what we're, that I will, it may happen that will happen. Will happen, or it may not. Makes it more interesting. But my point is that I think live, it's kind of back to the figuring things out. Live people doing live things, figuring out. I'm not going to just do AI. I'm going to figure out how to do this, or I will throw myself off a cliff. Any other questions?
I think that speaks to maybe the overall issue here is when you are lost in the doom scrolling, or you're lost in using this brand new technology that helps us out with anything, you start to lose a sense of self. How do I, for your example, how do I write? What is my voice? So finding out your voice like that is extremely important to who you are. How do I solve problems? I'm very much press a button until it works or breaks. I almost never look up a manual, which is for good or ill how I learn. I just touch it.
Oh, me too.
I touch it and I take it apart and I put it back together. That's how I learn. And without knowing that, how do I know myself? And if I don't know myself, I'm going to be depressed. That's where a lot of people, I was talking with my therapist the other day, just like, if you don't know yourself, the rest of the world can put their opinions on you, and you're going to get affected by that. And
well, it looks to me like we're finished here. Speaking of depression, Jason, as we used to say in the old days on the air, take us home.
I just would strongly encourage everybody to, think about for yourself, your device use, your screen time, and your children and your parents, and anybody else that you see that is close to you in your life, and intentionally take time away from the screen to spend time with other people. That human connection is fundamentally important for us maintaining our humanity and our sanity. So do that and things will get better.
And I'll add to that good is better than perfect. AI wants us to be perfect. AI wants our world to be perfect, and it's never going to be perfect. Might as well be good and get it wrong sometimes, because at least then you're learning.
And every once in a while, buy somebody a little blue notebook and give them some stickers to put in it. And I think it really and truly, though, I would say that, remember, we've really got all the answers. The one thing I have come to believe over the years is that we have all the answers we need. They aren't always where you thought they were, and they aren't always what you thought they were, but they're there. And it's a lot more fun than I think, anyway. So this is very wonderful. It's rare on these programs that we run over time like this. And so anyway, so Ray, and you get to choose the topic for next time, unless we hear from somebody differently.
Excellent.
Dear Jason, thank you. Dorothy, I see her. She's, that's not too bad for 92, I don't think. Oh, well. And so anyhow, thanks so much, gentlemen. And we'll see you again next time.